Hello, everyone. My name is Reverend Dr. Mrs. Edem Sokbo. I'm the Executive Director at Dion and Noyd International. It's an audit, tax, and advisory firm. I am also a certified counselor and a member of the Ghana Psychological Council and also the Ghana Association of Christian Counselors. I'm a pastor as well with the Lord's Pentecostal Church International, the Lakeside Estates branch. Today, I'll be taking you through marital adjustment during coronavirus, that is the COVID-19 period. And as adults, and especially couples, it is important that we understand that we are in a whole new era, and there are ways we can go through this era and still be able to come out of this era stronger and as better couples with everything that is happening around us. My presentation is going to look at a couple of areas, and that is the fact that this whole COVID-19 experience, it's real for everyone. And what we need to do is reorganize our priorities and look at ways we can help one another, especially as couples, to go through this time stronger and better, even though there are also challenges with regards to all the changes that are happening around us. The first thing I would like to say is that everyone, is experiencing the same distressing fears, worries, and anxieties, around this time, because this virus is new. And when you hear the news and you see what is happening in other countries, even here in Ghana, when you look at the rise in the number of infected people every day, you would see that it's quite worrying. And so everybody is concerned about what is happening. We are all caught up in the storm. Everything has been thrown out of gear. Schools have closed, churches have closed, people have lost their jobs, families have been forced to stay at home, and all of that. It's quite a new thing for everybody, and the struggle is real for everyone. We have all had to struggle or juggle the our responsibilities in terms of our work, having kids at home, if you have kids, having the responsibilities of taking kids through homeschooling, working from home, or having to leave kids at home and go to work for those who are still going out there to work, and many other things that are new now, as somebody will say, is the new normal, and that has become overwhelming for everybody, especially adults, and where people are married, for couples. And if we are not careful, we will spend all our time, our energy in trying to get through, all these new things at the expense of our relationship. And this is the reason we are looking at, how to make adjustments, as couples in this time. Now, one thing we have to understand is that this has come to stay. And though we are all praying that the pandemic will be over anytime soon, we have to also know that even after the pandemic, nothing will remain the same. So what do? We need to reorganize our priorities. We need to allow our priorities to change in these times of crisis. More than ever, even though so much is happening, that is new, where we have to suddenly become online people. Everything is online now. We are working online. We are having services online. We have to do homeschooling if we have kids online, or if we ourselves are in school, upgrading ourselves. Everything is online. And the challenges of handling all of this can cause us to have unnecessary arguments and, have, tensed moments and be stressed in dealing with all of this. And when such situations occur, more than ever, we need to deal with the issues as they come and not attack one another. And this is where we need to look at the issue versus us as couples, and not, begin to see each other as the problem of the time. There are many things that can cause us to snap. When you are, for example, working from home, and ideally, if you were at work, you would have the environment that will enable you to work in peace without distraction, but now you're at home, and because you are at home, your partner needs your attention, or sometimes you need to also care for children and take care of other responsibilities. And so if you are not careful, handling the pressure from work can cause you to snap without even knowing other people that are around you, either your spouse or your children or anybody that is around you, if you have to deal with pressure from work. And so as much as possible, we need to be conscious of what we are going through and what we are required to do, so that at all times, whether you are working from home or you are dealing with somebody in the home, you become sensitive to the fact that you need to be careful in communicating and dealing with everything at the same time without having to, switch the distress or the stress of certain areas of our lives on our partners or on our dependents who are with us. At all times, we need to see how we can pause, for a moment and ask ourselves if we are being reasonable, if we are being patient, if we are being understanding enough in dealing with issues, instead of, just snapping at every little thing or anyone that is around us because of everything that we are dealing with or going through around this period. It is very easy for it to happen to anybody, but we can control ourselves. How can we do that? We need to be compassionate and sensitive to the people around us. Everybody is scared. Everybody is, anxious. Everybody is at a loss at everything that is happening. But we need to be brave and we need to talk to one another. We must remember that this is new, so nobody knows how to respond appropriately at this time. So we need to make room for all the options for maintaining our relationships, especially at home. And so it is a good time to always catch yourself, in the moment and calm yourself down when handling situations or dealing with people at this time. Now, again, because of all the news that we have on this pandemic and what is happening around the world and in our own country here, there are times that you may have negative thoughts coming into your mind, and you may, have fears that you may be bottling up inside of you, and that will sometimes affect your emotions and the way, you deal with people around you. When that happens, find a way of talking about it and also help yourself by replacing those negative thoughts with good thoughts, with positive thoughts, with, messages and memories that will enable you to appreciate the people around you. Don't allow false emotions or the fears to take the best of you. Don't complain at everything that is happening. Yes, everything has changed because of this virus, and there are challenges. These are real, but there are also good things happening at this time, because this pandemic has actually helped us to all slow down instead of always being caught up in the rat race of rushing out every morning to go to either work or, kids going to school, or even you yourself, rushing out to school or whatever. There is so much that has slowed down as a result of this pandemic. And so there's a lot to be grateful for. Let's let's take the time, to thank God for the good things that are happening in these times. Not only complain, about the negative things happening. Let's look at the time it has afforded us to spend with our loved ones. Let's look at the fact that we have all been given the opportunity now to explore working from home, for example, having flexible working arrangements, and also getting to know how to, do homeschooling, or to explore all the opportunities that are on the internet now to keep us busy and productive even while at home. These are all good things, and we can look at those good parts of this pandemic and be grateful to God, and also be appreciative of the people around us. Let's find time to say good things to one another, to encourage one another as we are going through this period. if we do that, we'll be able to overcome the fears of always hearing the bad news of those who are dead and those who are sick out of this pandemic and those who are getting infected every day. All of that, would be minimized in our minds if we begin to look outside of the negativity of this pandemic to the good things that have come as a result of this pandemic. As we do that, it will enhance our relationship with one another, especially with us as couples who are living together. Now, much as, in Ghana, for example, the death rates are not high. The infection rates are very high. And that means that it is possible for any of us to experience our partner or a family member getting infected or getting caught up in this whole pandemic, experience that is closely. Usually when you hear the news on TV and the numbers that are recorded, that is the number of infected people daily, they are just numbers. But if you happen to have a relative or a loved one, as part of those infected or affected by this whole pandemic, then it becomes closer to you. And when that happens, especially if it is a spouse or a loved one, a dependent who is close, this is the time you lend a helping hand to that person. It is not a time to stigmatize the person or to draw away from the person or to neglect the person. Many people may, walk away from such a person, but if that person is a relative, if that person is your partner, you cannot walk away from such a person. That is when that person needs you the most. And so we need to know that there could be issues or there could be, situations that will cause us to experience the downturn of this whole virus on our lives very closely if any of our members get infected. When that happens, protect yourself. Adhere to the measures yourself, and then now you can help the sick person out of the situation. When you do that, then you would be able to help that person to get well and also prevent that person from infecting you or the other people that may be around. Everybody needs somebody, and especially when you are sick, that is when you need your loved ones around you. So as couples, we need to understand that, and that is why we all need to take care of ourselves so that we don't even find ourselves in that situation. But in the event that it happens, it is not the time to engage in the blame game and it's your fault, or this, if you had done that, this would not have happened. No, it is a time to just support that person. It's a time to protect that person and the other people in the family, if there are other dependents, and go through the period together so that that period will not destroy the relationship or break the family, but it will be a period where you would rather bond and get stronger and pull through as a couple. Now, the other thing that we want to look at is domestic participation. You would realize that as a result of us spending more time at home together, there's so much work at home. There's more cooking going on. There's more cleaning, more laundry to do, and all of that. This is not the time to say it is your job to always cook. So whether you are not doing anything or you are free, you do not want to help your partner, you can come together, share the work at home, and have everybody participate in making sure that the house is clean, doing dishes together, cooking together while chatting and having a nice time. And that will lessen the stress and the burden on one particular person and cause everybody to have a joyous time just working together, making sure that the home is lovely, is clean, and things are done in an orderly manner with everybody's involvement. Let us cultivate the habit of supporting one another, no matter what the task is. And that includes house chores. House chores are not for only a particular sex. It's for all. The home is for all. So whether you're a man or you're a woman, whatever the situation is in your home, in this period where we are spending more time together, let us come together to keep the home, nice and clean and habitable for each person. Then also, it comes to how we take care of ourselves. You would realize that because of this pandemic, we are not allowed to go out as often as we would normally, do. And then also, because we are at home and spending a lot more time at home, our activities are limited. And if we don't take care, we'll become more sedentary than ever. And so we need to keep a certain routine, try to exercise at home or, in the neighborhood in a safe manner. We can do jogging, even in the home. I know, for example, that you can do jogging on the spot. You don't really need to go anywhere, but just jog on the spot or, practice some very simple home exercises that we can all engage in and enjoy doing it, as well as keeping ourselves fit as we go through this time. Now, when we do it together, especially when couples exercise together, it's more fun and you can go longer, minutes or hours if you like. And this is healthy because remember, around this time, we need to build a healthy immune system that will enable us to guard ourselves from unnecessary infections and things like that. So let us still keep a healthy routine and let's do it together. Exercising is not only for men, it is also for women. And we can involve the children as well and make it more fun so that we can all keep healthy as a family. Now, at the same time, also, we need to create room for balance. In the midst of doing all of this, we should not lose ourselves. That is our usual routine of waking up, showering, having devotions together or, planning our day and getting to work. Even at home, instead of just lazing about and, for example, being in pajamas the whole day just because you're at home, let's have a routine. Let's create a healthy balance. Let's have a plan for the day. So what you would usually do, that is wake up in the morning, plan your day, shower, get dressed, create a space, no matter how small, your home is. You can create a workstation for yourself where you can go there and not be distracted, and work and be productive. If you want to even read a book, still take a shower, get dressed, and still do that. Don't just lazy about, in sleep clothes and, with hair unkempt. Some people will not shower the whole day and all of that. It doesn't make your environment, exciting or encouraging, especially if you have a partner, you're a couple and you're living in the home with other dependents. It doesn't create the right atmosphere. And so even if you're not going anywhere, assuming we are back on lockdown or whatever it is, still create a good atmosphere in the home and let everyone feel like life is still going on, and everything is the way it used to be. Create that environment, and that is in our purview to do. So let us be mindful of that. Then another area we need to consider very critically is making financial adjustments. Around this time, some people have lost their jobs, others have had, reduced income, and it is time, especially if you're a couple, you sit together and discuss your financial goals. You need to look at your budget and try to minimize your expenses so that you can focus on essentials only. Now, nobody knows how long this whole pandemic is going to last. And so you don't want to, live like everything is normal. And so, you can just spend on anything at any time. No. A lot has changed and a lot more will change in the coming days. Nothing is certain. So it is good to have a good financial backup. It's good to plan your resources, plan your finances, think of what is necessary for you to do as a couple, what you need at the moment, and what you would need in days to come, assuming this whole pandemic continues to prolong. How you're going to go through the times. These are very important discussions you need to have with your partner so that you don't have unnecessary, arguments and disagreements as a result of finances. Because one of the core areas of a lot of marital disagreements is finances. I mean, you don't have to wait till something happens before you plan your finances. This is a good time to sit and look at what is coming in and how much you need to spend so that you can all agree on what should be done, what you should spend your money on, and how you're going to go through the days ahead. Very, very critical. Everything has changed. I mean, prices have shot up since this pandemic was announced, and there was such a panic rush for food items and home items, prices of goods and services just shot up. People hoarded lots of, food items and other things, and everything just went out of gear. I am sure that there are people who, had items bought at the time of the panic that right now, when they look back, they would see that they really didn't need some of the things that they bought. But that has been done already. So what happens? Do we continue to react, to situations that way? Or should we plan that in the event that this continues or this gets even worse, how are we going to live? What are we going to do? So financial planning and making adjustments is very critical. As you know, everything is online now, which means there is a new utility that is called data. Very important. How do we make room for this? Nobody envisaged this, but this is happening. So we need to plan as individuals, as adults, and as couples so that we don't have unnecessary financial burden or stress as we go along. Now, that brings me into making adjustments in what we take. For example, of course, we all need to eat healthy meals, so that we can boost our immune system. However, we need to ensure that we take advantage of foods in season. Now, currently, there is pear and watermelon in season. Let's take as much as we can take, and let's look at how we can also preserve food and what kinds of food, will be helpful, around this time and cheap for storing and all of that. We need to, this is not the time to say, I don't eat this, I don't like that. No, we don't have that luxury anymore. And so we need to make adjustments in our food intake and in planning our meals and everything in the home. If we have to practice food rationing, we need to do that. If we have to reduce our portions, we need to do that. Of course, because we are not as active as we used to be. And so there's no point in eating heavy and not having to go anywhere to exercise and all of that. So we need to make adjustments in food, and couples must be ready to do that and support one another in doing that, so that some of these changes that are going on will not affect our resources to the extent that we'll become frustrated because we have limited or no resources to go through the period. We are in Ghana and Africa for that matter. Elsewhere, the government has asked citizens to stay at home and meals are provided, utilities have been taken care of, and everything else they need is being provided. Here, it is not that way. We need to take care of ourselves. So whatever we can do to help ourselves, we must be willing, especially as adults, to do that so that we can go through this period, without the stress of, having to worry about too many things. If you have to practice bulk buying, you can do that, but only buy what you need, and that will be fine. Now, in all of this, we need to also look at how we communicate to one another. Communication, as I said, is everything. A lot is going on. We are all dealing with so much, but we need to also look at how we express ourselves and express, our frustrations, our fears to one another. As much as possible, let's use the right words at the right time. Let's find fun ways to communicate to each other and show genuine interest in what our spouses say, so that we do not misinterpret one another or, get offended unnecessarily because of things our partners have said or how they said it and all of that. There's so much emotion going on around this time because of all the changes we are all experiencing with this pandemic. But we can control ourselves. We have absolute, control over how we react, how we respond to one another and the things we have to deal with. So let's be positive in our communications. If you are not sure of how to express yourself, take a deep breath, find the appropriate time when you have calmed down to communicate so that you do not, create tension and quarrels that are not necessary. We must do everything in our power to come out of this pandemic better than we started in it. It is possible. We have what it takes to do it. So let us find that, that skill to do it the right way. Then we must continue to follow the precautionary measures. Now, so much has been said. Everyone knows what to do now because on radio, on TV, everywhere you go, we have been flooded with measures to take. Let us adhere to it. And as couples or as parents, we must set the example. If we are told to wear masks, we must wear it. And our children must see us wearing it. We must wash our hands with soap under running water. All these things are good to know, but we must practice them more than just knowing it in your mind. We must actually do them so that, we can protect ourselves from getting infected. This virus is dangerous. We cannot afford to joke with it. And so, yes, we've heard it over and over again, but we must adhere to it. So if we have to wear nose mask when you're going out of your home, do that. Don't take it for granted. Wash your hands as often as possible. Practice social distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay safe at all costs. It is so important for yourself, for your partner, and for any other person that is, depending on you. Because once you make a mistake and you get infected, the people around you are at risk, and you don't want to do that. And so let us take the precautionary measures seriously and know that it is just a phase. But whatever we must do for that phase to pass without it having negative impact on us, let us do it. And I think that as we do that, we will be keeping ourselves safe to live for longer years in health, and the people around us also would be protected, around this time. Then finally, as I bring my presentation to a close, I want to encourage all of us to have faith in God. This time is a good time to renew our faith in God. Whatever you believe in, hold on to it. If that is what gives you the strength to go through this period, hold on to it. As a believer, I know the word of God gives me the assurance that no matter what is going on, God is with me and will protect me. And so this is a good time to build your faith. This is a good time to improve your spirituality. This is a good time to challenge one another. As a couple, spend time together and read the word of God. Spend time to pray. Spend time to inspire one another, with words of hope and encouragement that will strengthen you and keep you bonded and hopeful for a brighter tomorrow. I want to end this presentation with this psalm. That is Psalm 121, the verse 7 to 8, which says that the Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. Thank you all for this time, and may God bless you. Amen. Thank you.